It's owned by Amazon. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Sarah, and today we're going to do just a brief video. We're going to talk about the Goodreads Choice Awards because every year I see these videos come up, and I don't really pay attention, but I do want to say my 2 cents, and we're going to look at the fantasy and romantasy and maybe romance lists. Just a glance at them. I already glanced at them and voted, and I was not impressed. But here's my 2 cents. Goodreads, for those who don't know, is a book review and recommendation website. It has been around for many, many moons at this point. It's been around for a while. It started out as an independent site, I do believe, but was was purchased by Amazon several years ago. So this website is owned by Bezos. This is an Amazon website. And every year, Goodreads does the Goodreads Choice Awards. And in this, they propose to find the best book in each genre and category from that year. Now, again, this website is owned by Amazon, which means these are not like actually the best books. These are the books that either have the most shelved status. So say 1 million people said, I want to read the new SJM, the new Sarah J. Maas book. Whereas 500,000 people said, I want to read the new Scarlett Sinclair or Robert Jackson Bennett, something like that. SJM's going to win because she's the most popular. Makes sense? Or this spot has been paid for. I hate to tell you this, but I am like 95% certain that a lot of these are paid for. This is either the book that was advertised the most on the website, so the publisher paid for advertising and maybe they put a little extra in and they were included on the list, or there's possibly just a flat buy-in for the list. I would 100% believe this. I would 100% believe this. And the reason I believe this is because, one, and I'm going to say it again, this is owned by Amazon. And two, this website has not changed, or if it has, it's been very little since it came about. It reached a certain point, it plateaued, and it has not changed. We don't have half-star ratings, reviews, and everything. You know, you're locked in. I've been on Goodreads for 10 plus years at this point, and yeah, it's not changed. So, like, I'm pretty sure, and this is me, like, spitballing, just thinking out loud, as someone who worked in a tech field prior to staying at home with my kid, I'm guessing that this website is run by contractors who possibly are just being paid to maintain the site. There is very little attention being paid to it otherwise. Many users will tell you there's bugs. The only time anyone seems to see a mod is if people are being aggressively review bombed or some kind of like drama happens. The site is not kept up well. It's outdated. It's kind of dingy looking. Like, it's not great. I could recommend you to other websites that are more polished, user-friendly, more active with their users, things like that that are far better. But because Goodreads has been around the longest, and once again, is owned by Amazon, it is the quote-unquote gold standard of book review websites. Not only that, but Amazon actually pulls their book ratings and puts them from Amazon on Amazon.com. So you will see rated on Amazon on a lot of things. So all that to say, I don't give a hoot about these awards, but people do, because if your book makes it to the Choice Awards, it gets a lot of publicity. Mostly free publicity, unless your publisher paid for it to be there, which, you know, sometimes I'm sure happens, as I stated. But otherwise, if it makes it onto this list, you get a lot of, like, they put stickers on the books if it wins, you get a lot of website traffic and ads, things like that, right? So it's a good deal for a lot of people. And unfortunately, because it's a popularity contest, that usually only benefits those people who are already popular. So then people get upset on the internet, which I understand, I get it, I empathize, but this is rigged from the beginning. From the start, it's rigged. These aren't accurate. These are not going to be your favorite books unless you're very lucky, or unless you read mainly the popular stuff, which, no shade, good for you. Sometimes I wish that was all I read. So, like, There's no use railing and ranting about it, in my opinion, because again, it's owned by Amazon and they don't care. But all that having been said, I wanted to look at the fantasy list because I glanced at it and I'm gonna be honest, I didn't recognize any of these, not any of these, but a lot of these books. So this was just interesting. Let's say it was interesting. It was interesting. At the top of the list on my website, on the way they've got it sorted on my phone, actually, let me get it out of the way. I voted for The Tainted Cup because it's one of the few books on the list that I actually read and really liked. I really enjoyed The Tainted Cup. It was Robert Jackson Bennett's first book in his new series. I know it's getting mixed reviews. It is a mystery fantasy novel with plant magic and like giant Titan-esque creatures coming over these walls. I thought it was fun. Had a Sherlock Holmes vibe. I'm into it. But the list itself contained a lot of other things that I had never seen before. Top of the list, The Blackbird Oracle. This is the Deborah Harkness book for her new All Souls series, which I really didn't care for. I actually didn't know this was out. Let's see, when did this come out? Okay, this came out in July. Missed it. That's how little I care about Deborah Harkness. I read the first book and a half of this. I had so many problems with the way the first book did things that I was like, this just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And I put it down. It reminded me very much of Outlander. And then I've also read the first book and a half of Outlander and it just wasn't for me. So, but I didn't know this was out. I thought there was just 4 of these books, but this is the 5th one. The Night Ends with Fire. I have this on my shelf back here. This is I think it's like a Mulan-esque retelling. It looks really good, but again, I haven't seen a lot of reviews for it. I wonder if this is a shelved thing because it's a very pretty book. It has the sprayed edges. It's got a really nice printing quality to it, so probably a lot of people purchased it and then put it on their owned or purchased want to read shelves. The Warm Hands of Ghosts, I think probably does deserve that spot because it did get a lot of buzz and hype when it came out. It's a new Catherine Arden. Catherine Arden's a really good author. 5 Broken Blades, that is a Red Tower romantasy book that is more fantasy leaning. So I give that one some side eye. I feel like that maybe deserved to be in the romantasy category, but here we are. My opinion doesn't count. It is, like I said, Red Tower, so it, again, like The Night Ends in Fire, it's very pretty. It's got sprayed edges, so people picked it up at the store and shelved it. We've got a lot of shelves here. Somewhere Beyond the Sea, this is the 2nd Cerulean Sea novel by T.J. Klune. I'm not surprised that this is on here. T.J. Klune is getting very popular, deservedly. I think he's a fantastic author, so I wasn't surprised to see this. I have read an excerpt of this, and it was good, but I'm just not in the mental headspace for it, so it is one I want to read. The Dead Cattail Assassins. I was shocked by this one. I was really shocked. I almost voted for this, but I think I liked The Tainted Cup a hair more than Dead Cat, so I voted for The Tainted Cup. That one is about an assassin. It's a novella, so if you're looking for a good fantasy novella, it's a good one to pick up. It's an assassin who comes face to face with maybe her former self. You gotta read to find out. The Bright Sword by Lev Grossman. I don't like Lev Grossman very much. I forgot that this came out. This is how little I know about this. But I suspect this one might have been either... I'm pretty sure I saw ads for this at one point, so maybe this was one that was purchased and just got shelved, or it got shelved from ads, things like that. These next 2 I also didn't recognize at all. The Book of Doors by Gareth Brown. I don't know anything about that. I didn't know this book existed. A Sweet Sting of Salt. The only thing I can tell you about this book is that cover looks like a Sierra Simone cover that I've seen in the past. I didn't know this book existed either. Again, I don't think some of these, I don't know that these are readers' choices. Do you smell what I'm stepping in? Do you know what I'm saying? The Familiar had a lot of hype, had a lot of buzz, completely unsurprised by that one. When Among Crows, again, what I'm maybe a little surprised by, but not super surprised by. This is a Veronica Roth book, and she is very popular. She wrote, was it the Divergent books, or one of those series, one of those YA dystopia series. She wrote it, she got really popular, and consequently all of her books have had tailcoat hype. They have been writing the tailcoats of that original series. The Sorceress Comes to Call was really good, and I'm really happy to see Teen Kingfisher on this list. Little surprised, but happy. It was good. The Lost Story, don't know what that is. Never seen it before. Maybe I'll pick it up. A Song to Drown Rivers is another one that got a very pretty book. It's very pretty in person. I actually saw it tonight. It's got sprayed edges, that sort of thing. I have an e-arc of that I just haven't picked up. Voyage of the Damned. This one is one that I'm going to chalk up to fairy loot because Voyage of the Damned was a fairy loot book. What was it, 2 or 3 months ago? So a lot of people probably got it in their fairy loot boxes and marked it for red. A lot of influencers probably got it, and their viewers were like, oh man, that's a pretty book. I'm going to put it on my list. And so on Goodreads, it's marked as to read. So therefore, maybe it has the shelves for it. The Foxwife by Yang Zi Show, that was a book of the month book. So I think that's probably how it got shelved so much because I didn't see very much publicity for that one. Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherlands. This one also, for a second, almost got my vote, but this is another case of fairy loot. The first book got a lot of hype and got a very pretty fairy loot edition. In fact, I have both of these into fairy loot editions on my shelves. I really like this series. It's good. Do I think it's a Goodreads Choice Award winner? Don't know about that part. The last two, An Academy for Liars by Alexis Henderson, has been getting a lot of buzz, and The Empire of the Damned by Jay Kristoff. I genuinely don't understand the Jay Kristoff buzz. He's just not the author for me. But, you know, people like him. So, like, there's a lot of books on the fantasy list that I genuinely don't know, and I'm surprised to see them. Same could be said for science fiction. I see a lot of the science fiction front list, and some of these surprised even me. I knew The Mercy of the Gods would be on here. James S.A. Corey is the author on that, and they wrote the Leviathan Wakes series. The Expanse, that's the name of that series. So they are definitely going to be on there because it's going to be shelved. Stardust Grail got a lot of hype from what I saw online, but a lot of these, the new Douglas Preston, I didn't know he was alive. See, Absolution, I didn't know that book was out till a week ago. I'm just surprised. And there are definitely like areas of the internet that are book related that I don't populate. So, you know, there's always a chance that maybe I'm just not seeing it, but I see a lot of it. And again, I genuinely think most of these are paid for or they are just incidental shelving. People put them on want to read, and then that counts it towards the awards. There is a romantasy subcategory list now, which I, frankly, last year I was annoyed by, but this year I appreciate. There is so much romantasy now. It would completely crowd out the fantasy like it did the first year that this happened. So I'm glad to see it has its own category. There are, most of these I have seen before because romantasy is having its moment at this point in time. So none of these super surprised me. I am happy to see some of these because a lot of these were indie published and then got picked up traditionally. So like, get it. I'm glad these authors are getting the attention they deserve. A lot of them are series continuations though, which is unfortunate because a lot of people aren't reading. They're not going to read the third book in a series. They'll probably just glaze over it like me. So for romance, this one, let's look. I glanced at this and I wasn't impressed, and I'm still not impressed. I always look on this list for like queer or people of color. It looks better than last year, but not great. This one again is the same as fantasy, romantasy, all the others. It's paid for, it's popular stuff. Abby Jimenez is on here, Allie Hazelwood, Elsie Silver, Anna Huang. You know, I'm happy to see them on there because I know these are good authors, but Emily Henry, of course. But that's my little, like, 2 cents on the Goodreads Choice Awards. It all boils down to, it's owned by Amazon, so don't expect much. That's it. That's all I gotta say. It's unfortunate that it carries the weight that it does within the bookish community, and, you know, there's not a lot we can do about it. So, like, I'm one of these people that I like to be aware, but I also try not to worry about the things I can't control. If you want the books that you read to get more attention, talk about them, review them, post about them on social media, share them with your friends and family. Don't rely on a conglomerate like a big company to do it for you. And don't be upset or surprised when they don't. Do your part, and then, you know, that's all you can do. So that's it. That's it for this video. I hope it was short and y'all enjoyed my rambly thoughts. I will talk to you guys again next time. Thanks so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll talk to you again later. Bye.